Hello, everyone. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm Watching the Gilded Age, Season 1, Episode 9, Let the Tournament Begin.
Don't we look so nice in our
do.
finery? I took a cue out of Aurora Fane's book where I have one thing too many on. So, you know what? I'm here for it.
Yeah, whatever.
I thought about wearing an actual tiara because I have two of them. But
I should have worn a tiara.
do I need to go get one?
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're okay.
All right.
We're okay.
Next time.
So, okay, this is the finale. And as expected, it was Gladys's coming out party.
Finally.
It was good. It was a success. I guess let's start with the least of the issues, which is that the chef, the Russell's chef, is from Kansas. He's not French at all. He was in like the Merchant Navy or something.
Like a Merchant Marines, but no, there seaman was in the name.
Okay.
But I can't remember what the first part of it was.
And so he like studied in France, but he is not himself French. So Bertha is like, no, he has to go. We'll be like laughed off the block if everybody finds out that our chef's not from France. So they hire an actual French chef who gets well, first of all, he's just a dick.
Yeah, full douchebag.
He's mean to Mrs. Bruce. He's mean to Mr. Church. It's just no good. And so then he gets hammered on the night of the party. And so George makes the executive decision to get Borden, I guess is his real name, back. And he helps the party go off without a hitch. So Bertha basically is just sort of like, yeah, well, all right. And then he speaks. Okay, with his like actual accent. I don't know if the guy is actually French or actually American. I'll try to find him. But I think Carrie Coon is an exceptional actress. And I think she's been doing amazing all season. There's not a misstep. She's incredible. She hears him talk with his American accent and she just goes,
I felt the exact same way. I don't think I've talked about it on here, but the guy that the voice actor, sorry to this man, but who does the introduction for the show, and it's like, and now, the Gilded Age, and it sounds like Cartman trying to do like some kind of voiceover work, and so that's what Monsieur Baudin sounded like when he in his Kansas.
So he's from Detroit.
Oh.
The actor's from Detroit. So
maybe it's just because we've been hearing him speak.
French.
Yeah.
The French accent so much.
It upset my ear holes.
Regardless, it's the finest piece of acting I have ever seen Carrie Coon accomplish. It was so funny to me. Gladys gets to do her little quadrille. It's very silly. Everyone
they're in wigs and horse heads.
Everyone is extremely tickled. It goes off without a hitch. It's lovely. But leading up to that, I kind of love it. I love all of this that Bertha and Mrs. Astor were doing. Mm-hmm. It's so delicious. It's so funny. And I think that Bertha is totally right when she tells her at the end, she's like, no, we're the same and we're going to be friends.
Yeah, I loved that. And I absolutely 100% emphatically agree.
Because no one else is doing society on Mrs. Astor's level. So like, why would she not want someone she can sort of share that with? So basically what Bertha does the whole episode is she's like, well, Carrie can't do the dance with you. She's not invited anymore because she tries to call on Mrs. Astor and her butler claims she's not home, but then she watches someone else get like accepted into the house for a visit. And Carrie is pissed and she's like, I can't go now because of you. It's your fault. And she basically won't come to dinner. She won't go to a call with her mother. She won't come down for tea. She won't do anything. So finally, Mrs. Astor is like, what do you want? And she was like, you need to go make peace and you need to go to the party and you need to get me reinvited. And she kind of does all three. And then Bertha ups the ante again by saying, and you'll get Agnes to come as well.
The Van Rhines. They have to come across the street because that was the pull from last week. That was the preview for this week. She was like, I'm tired of being cut on my doorstep.
Yep. Because Mrs. Van Rhine just won't come talk to her. It's all just so perfectly done. And I love that these people are still trying to toy with them. Because George has a colleague as well who's like, the banks are trying to get him to loan them money, is what it sounds like.
This country is wild, y'all.
It's bonkers. So one of the bankers comes and he's like, yeah, you know what? The terms sound great. Everything sounds fine. You've got to come to my party. And he's like, well, sure, no problem. And he's like, and your wife too. And he's just like, oh, I don't know if I can get my wife. And he was like, well, that's the conditions of your loan. So you and your wife come to my party or you don't get your loan. I just don't understand why these people keep toying.
I don't know either.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not gonna work out.
They are social juggernauts.
Yeah.
Like, so the fact that they are still trying to play like these people, like, who do they think they are? They are all of the money. They are all of you combined.
They're too rich and they want it too bad.
Yeah.
To the point where Mr. McAllister is talking to Mrs. Astor and he's like, if we don't allow them in at least a little, they're going to create their own society and exclude us. Mm-hmm. And then that's going to be the issue, is that then we're going to have all the old shit because they're building a new opera house. They're building a new train station. They're building all of this new stuff. You just kind of have to roll with the punches. Like, I get that it's going to like kind of shake up your society or whatever, but you can still end up on top if you play it right.
Just play the game.
Exactly.
Why are we fighting it? Just play the game. That always irritates me when people insist that they dig their heels in and just refuse, but then pout that it's not going their way. And it's like, you have to play the game. Yeah. I understand it's not fun and it can be extremely tiresome, but if you play it in such a way that it doesn't seem like you are being gameplay-y, then you can reap all of the benefits in the end.
All the benefits. Which I think, in my opinion, is what Mr. McAllister is trying to do. He's like, trying to go with the old and the new. He's like, he
just shit talks everybody. Yeah. Everyone's fair game. That's the way you do it. You talk shit about everybody. So, because it's just, I don't know. I subscribe to that type of like social.
Just play it.
Yeah.
So Mrs. Astor relents. She also gets the Van Ryns. She sort of summons them.
Yeah.
She's like, you are going. And I loved Agnes's like, well, I don't want to quarrel with Mrs. Astor, and we can always decide to quarrel with Mrs. Russell later. So she's like, we'll go. So the whole family goes. It's actually great. She does a little nice nod at Bertha.
She smiles.
And she smiled at Bertha. And then that was when Mrs. Astor was like, what's to say, like, what's keeping me from ruining you tomorrow? And she was like, no, because we're friends, because we're the same. And she's just sort of like,
I really like that she said, I can be a really good friend to you if you let me.
I agree with that, 100%. Also, we finally got the lavender ball gown. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting.
No, it was
pretty nice.
For Gladys, it was tasteful. And her hair looked good.
Her hair looked good.
It
was not terrible.
No, it was. I'm glad she's out. And she, what is Oscar? Oscar was like, woo! I want to dance. And she was like, well, I'm going to go change so you can wait. And he was like, no, I want to dance now. She was like, I'm out now, Mr. Van Ryn, and I am done with being told what to do.
Amazing.
Yes.
Preach, Gladys Russell. Preach. It was so satisfying. I hope that in a season 2, we would get something more deliberate for Gladys to do.
Me too.
Because she's been very in the background, but I would, first of all, love to see her push back against Bertha a little more now that she is out. And secondly, I would just like her to have a plot that has some oomph to it. And because even her like being in love with that boy didn't really end up amounting to anything.
It really didn't. So it just, I mean, I think that would be interesting if that's Bertha's conflict next season. So since she's obviously going to be more ingrained into society,
right?
If maybe her battle is now like she's unleashed a hellhound amongst everyone in society that is her daughter. So
Larry also gets sort of roped into Marion's story this week, which is she is whole hog just ready to go elope with Mr. Rakes, and as expected, the entire time he throws her over. She they've arranged everything. They meet in the park like the day before. They're meant to be leaving on a train and getting married on Friday, or getting married and then leaving on a train, because she promises Aunt Ada that everything is going to be above board. Despite the elopement, they're going to be married before they leave together. So they're meant to meet at Mrs. Chamberlain's house, and he is hours late. And luckily, Mrs. Fane comes in the nick of time. He's hours late, so not really in the nick of time, but she goes to Ada and she's like, I have a terrible feeling and terrible news. He's been kind of dicking around with Sissy Bingham.
Yeah, I was about to say Bingley, and I'm like, wrong one.
Bingham. I saw them at the opera. They were very cozy. He whispered in her ear.
They were being so snuggly. I mean, roped. She is roped in his arm, and he's like leaning back and like whispering in her ear.
Not for nothing, but he and Marion have been making out on the streets for all to see. So everyone is behaving improperly. Regardless, Aurora is basically like, I don't think he has her interests, like, at all. And so Aurora basically hightails it over to Mrs. Chamberlain. And it's
at
like
Ada's request.
Yeah. And it's actually like some of the best stuff, I think, in my opinion. She makes it. Peggy's there with Marion as well. And she basically is like, I saw what I saw, and, you know, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but like, he's not here. When was he supposed to be? A long time ago. I don't know. So Marion is like, well, I'm going to go to his office, and Peggy goes with, and he's just working, trying to compose a letter.
You know, okay, so I am of two minds about this whole thing.
Okay.
I'm annoyed that it was this kind of delicate, like it wasn't as rakish as I was starting to worry that it was going to be.
I just assumed she was going to like wind up at the church with him already there getting married ahead of her.
Yeah. Yeah. Or we were going to find out about the money situation, that he took all of her money.
Which shockingly, that seems to, she still seems to have $0 to her own name.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so the other half of me is relieved, because it's like, okay, so I wasn't completely duped. He's just he's a coward.
Yeah, basically, you know? Because she was like, the more you thought about it, the more you realized that it wasn't like enough, basically, and that we would have no money, and Mrs. Bingham can, like, she has money, so she can keep you there. And the notion that he thinks, he's like, we've both been in society now, and now we both can't live without it. And it's just like, Marion could absolutely live without it.
He just does not know her.
Yeah.
He doesn't know her. And every time that he would say, I love you, she never said it back.
Never.
I'm like, what are you doing marrying this person? Like, I know marrying for love is still kind of like a novel idea. Like, it's a little bit newer. But, you know, Marion, be like a little butthurt over it, but like, I wouldn't be as brokenhearted as she seems, because it's like, I don't know that she necessarily felt that way.
Yeah, I mean, she seems mostly okay by the end of the episode. And we have some rumblings with Larry Russell, which I like quite a lot. I do wish there was something just like a touch more delicious with the Mr. Rakes thing. Like, I don't know.
Feel like he got off a little easy.
Well, it's not done yet.
That's true. I mean,
he could. What if he just like plows through all of Sissy Bingham's money?
Yeah.
You know, he could be right back on the bottom again.
Yeah.
And then especially if like Marion marries Larry, and then she has a ton of money and he's like, I need money. Who knows what's going to happen? Regardless, she does end up roping Larry into it, because she leaves letters for him to give to Agnes and Ada, even though Ada basically knows the whole score. And so once he throws her over in his office, she's like, oh shit, the letters. Yep. And she like gets back, runs in the house, and is like, oh, Mr. Russell, I see you're taking some mail to the mailbox. And I loved Agnes was like, I feel like I've just watched a play in a foreign language. I have no idea what's going on. So Larry makes her promise him a dance at Gladys is coming out, and she does. And apparently they dance all night, and he walks her home across the street. I'm into it.
Me too. I'm definitely into it.
I think it's cute. I think they're well matched. The actors feel well matched. The characters feel well matched. And I mean, if Marion truly likes him, it would work out. And also Bertha would like it, because they'd be marrying into an old name.
Yes. Because I think Bertha would be more inclined to accept the match, because since Marion doesn't really come with money, but she's tied to a name, I don't think she would care as much that there is a lack of money, since they have all the money.
Well, that's the thing, is they they don't really need the money. And I think she knows that Marion isn't after the money.
Right.
So she's not like a gold digger coming after Larry's money. Oh, I didn't mention the scene with Mrs. Chamberlain and Mrs. Fane. Okay. Because Mrs. Fane is leaving and she feels sort of shamefaced about it because Mrs. Chamberlain's been helping them this whole time and she's being very gracious about everything too. And she sort of just is like, I want to thank you for receiving me, because it was in that case expected that Mrs. Chamberlain would turn away Mrs. Fane, which is awesome. And she didn't. And then she was like, please don't tell anyone about this because Marion's reputation couldn't take it. And she basically was like, are you out of your mind? I would literally never. Like, you saw what happened to me? Get out of here.
Yeah.
So I loved that a lot. I hope that we might get Jean Triplehorn a little more like in the mix next season. Oh, and then that baby's alive.
Yes, he is.
Peggy's baby is alive.
Got adopted, got placed. Her father made sure of it, said that he was settled and happy. There's no reason to go after him. All of it.
So they get the letter about the baby while he is out of town in Chicago. The baby's in Philadelphia somewhere. Dorothy had no idea that the baby was alive.
I'm glad about that.
Me too, of course. I couldn't have handled it if she had known too and was like, it's for your own good. But she seemed to be on Peggy's side the whole time, just wanted her family back intact. But the minute she finds out, she's like, pack a bag.
Yep. We're going to go find this motherfucking baby.
They are literally packing to leave when he arrives back home. And they're like, if you help us, we can like maybe start forgiving. If you help us find the baby. And he's like, basically like, I would rather die than help you find the baby.
I don't understand. I mean, sure, don't like your son-in-law, but he's making it seem like she got knocked up and the guy left her with nothing. They were married. They were an established couple.
They were married and they were making do. It didn't seem like they were destitute.
No. So I don't understand why he keeps throwing the word disgrace around.
So the fact that he said the word disgrace makes me wonder if if Elias was like extremely uneducated, whereas like Peggy and the Scotts are like from the high black society, or if he might be white.
Yeah, and that's what my suspicion has kind of been, because that is a very Irish sounding name. So
Elias Finn?
Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering that.
I feel like Elias could go either way.
Yeah, no, it could. Yeah.
Regardless, that was, when he said disgrace again this time, I was like, I just feel like that might be the only. I feel like there's not like a lot of other options. He's either like really uneducated and super poor, or he's white.
I think he might be white.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, whatever. Swirl love is love. I don't know.
I love especially that like that Dorothy is just 100% on board, and she basically is like, it was unacceptable that he did that. He made them believe the baby was dead, and poor Peggy thought her baby was dead, and now she just knows that he's out there, and she, he's been adopted. Like, what are the chances she's going to be able to get him back with no man, like with no husband?
I mean, as long as she has her mother, and I mean, hopefully Dorothy has enough of Arthur's ear that she could maybe turn it a bit, but there has to be some turning point if they're going to keep this family together.
I'm pissed at Arthur.
Yeah, what a dick.
Tell you that much. Mrs. Flora McNeil, oh God, what was his name again?
Collier.
Good job.
/ Watson.
Yeah, the bald Russell servant, his lady friend, the McNeil family, came to the party as well, and still nothing.
Yep, but no answers whatsoever.
I'm interested. I want to know more, but yeah, I don't know. It was a pretty good episode. It was a really good finale. I liked where everything ended.
Me too.
It was a big success for the Russells, and it appears that the Van Ryns and Brooks have sort of made a peace, so they can be a little more. I think Marion can be a little more outwardly friendly with everybody. I loved the moments with Ada and Marion.
Me too. Cynthia Nixon in this episode was particularly good.
And she looked lovely in
so
her party
pretty.
dress.
So good.
We love to see it. I really liked Marion's party dress, except for the huge, stupid flower right here. I was like, after the fact, I was thinking, I was like, you know what it was probably meant to be? It was like a metaphorical bleeding heart.
I hate it.
I know.
I hate it
It's so much worse. If it hadn't been just right here.
Or if there was more structure to if it was an actual flower, not some tool
Just
that was like this.
Yeah.
And all right.
But, I mean, even if it had been just like tulle, but like here.
Yes.
Like
just gathered right here. Perfect.
Because there was some in the skirt.
Yes. And it looked beautiful.
Because it was like sage green and like magenta.
So pretty.
A really good combo, but just.
Yeah, just a goose.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Like.
Gladys's lavender dress looked really nice. I think Bertha's ball gown was okay.
It was a C+ for me.
If it were me, I would have worn the red thing she wore to the opera.
Exactly. That's exactly where my brain went.
But do you know whose I really liked?
Whose?
I really liked Mrs. Astor's dress. Because it was sort of Greco almost.
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh my God. It was very cool. Very interesting. Carrie Astor was blessedly not wearing that stupid popcorn crochet bullshit at the party, but
Too many textures.
But her party dress was still terrible.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it at all.
Yeah, I don't know. And then Mrs. Fane's outfit when she came to save the day at Mrs. Chamberlain's, it was the ugliest outfit I have ever seen in my life.
It's just that like gold brocade and then overlaid with white lace, and then it's like those weird gather bows all up the arm.
You know what it looks like?
What?
Those people who like, how do I say this without offending anyone? When people try to look like they had money, and it was like really Vegas-y, and so like you walk into their living room and it's just all white with like really tacky gold and like window fixtures and all that stuff.
I like to call that the Brooke Hogan paradox.
Yeah.
Because we were watching Cribs one time, and it was either Hulk Hogan or Brooke Hogan, and it was just nothing but like Miami teal and like pink marble and white marble and gold chrome and everything. And I literally just turned to Will and I was like, this is what poor people think rich people decorate their houses like.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's just awful.
Yeah.
It's so ugly. But they're like, it's the most expensive stuff though, so it must be right. And it's like, not always.
No, it just, she looked like an unfurbished or like a really old Vegas hotel lobby window treatment. With
I'm
legs.
100% on your team.
Yeah, that
like
was
the Bellagio in the early 80s.
Fucking tassels on the bustle, stripes. Ugh, it was bad.
Yeah, it's not
God.
good.
Scarlett O'Hara would never. She made those curtains work.
She did make the curtains work.
They were tassels, but they were tasteful tassels.
Yeah. So, Mr. Riggs had the absolute audacity to show up to the ball.
You know,
with that bitch Sissy Bingham.
I have a question. Where are people buying this audacity that seems to be half price? Because everyone fucking has it. I would like some. Can I have some? Yeah. I would never.
Gotta go to Audacity Costco.
My God. Get a membership?
It's absurd.
Jesus Christ. If I were him, I would have like said hello to the Russells and then would have turned on my heel and walked my ass right the fuck back out.
Because then he has the further audacity to go talk to Marion.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah. And let's rewind to their last conversation when she was leaving. He was like, can we part as friends? And she was like, no, but not.
Yeah. She was like,
not as enemies.
I don't want to have like hate bitterness in my heart or whatever, but barf.
You know, a little bitterness can do wonders, ma'am. You know?
Up that bitterness quotient.
Yeah. But no, but to make headway, to walk over to talk to the girl you jilted mere hours prior, and then to be like, I didn't think you'd be here. Which, because I'm like, that's a double fuck you, because it's like, you really thought I was that heartbroken that I wasn't going to come shake my ass with my girlies across the street? Nah, homie. No, that's not how this works.
Woof.
Yeah.
I think the last thing that we have to touch on is that Oscar thinks he can actually make it work with Gladys, and he is assuring Mr. Adams that nothing will change, and I don't buy it.
No, not at all.
I also I don't think Bertha is going to allow that marriage.
No.
Even if Gladys is into it, which there's no real indication that she is.
Oh, he's just too oily.
Yeah.
Like, personality-wise.
Also, he's too gay. Like,
I mean, that, yes, absolutely.
I know he can't feasibly, like, live that way in this society, but, like...
Find a nice lesbian.
First of all, exactly, which is what, in my opinion, Mr. McAllister has done. But either find a nice lesbian or just, like, Gladys isn't stupid. Find a dum-dum who won't know any better and will just spend your money. Like, I don't know. It's not it for me. I still think Bertha's gonna go the,
royalty.
The, like, poor royalty route. So... that is pretty much it, and that is a wrap on season 1 of The Gilded Age.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here with us. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, super good for the most part, I think. There's, like, obviously some stuff that, as somebody that lives in 2022, I'm just like, come on, man.
Oh, I have a question.
Okay.
Do you feel like, in comparison to Downton Abbey, this feels a little bit more farcical? Because... this feels a little bit more Benny Hill. Like,
I don't know. When the guy dies with Mary, that's pretty farcical. They're like Cora and Anna and Mary are like carrying him back to his bedroom. That's pretty farcical.
So I mean that part, yeah, but everything else it was a little bit more serious, where I feel, especially the downstairs stuff on this show, it feels very like waka waka waka. Like, I don't know, because we don't spend as much time downstairs.
Yeah, that I think we got a comment last week about it because we mentioned something, because I was saying that a lot of the characters feel flat because we don't have as much time with them, it feels like. And I think because Downton is a very upstairs downstairs, it's like a classic British upstairs downstairs, Gosford Park kind of thing. I think it's a little richer for that because it's more about the interpersonal relationships between the upstairs and the downstairs. Whereas the upstairs and downstairs stories on this are totally separate. And then it's like some of the upstairs stories are totally separate from each other. And there's 2 different downstairs. And so it's like, it's a lot more spread out, I guess.
Yeah. And I don't know which I prefer. Well, as of right now,
I think there's more there is a richness to Downton Abbey that does not yet exist in The Gilded Age.
Yeah, because I mean, The Gilded Age, which I know is on purpose, everything about it, even the old world people all feels very nouveau riche. Like exactly. It feels a little.
We're like, you're totally right, because it's like, what number Earl of Grantham is he? So
26th
many.
Or something.
And it's like the Astors have been in New York for 3 generations?
Yeah.
That's diddly. That's nothing.
Yeah.
So I feel bad comparing them too.
I mean, I do
it's
too.
So different.
It's hard not to make the comparison because it is a Julian Fellows property. Because we don't really have, like, society stuff. I mean, we do now, but, like, everyone's kind of, like, in an eat the rich type of place right now.
It also just has, like, no bearing on everyday life.
Yeah.
And we also don't even live in New York. But if we did, I mean, there is obviously, like, a hierarchy to society still. But it's so, like, inconsistent and inconsequential.
And what I've heard from people who have been a part of the society life in New York have left it so quickly because they're like, it's exhausting and I hate it. Yeah. So I don't know. I would be interested in that part of it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm getting there. Like, I still like it. It's just I'm having to do extra work really trying to be like, well, you know.
I'm not sure what it was about Downton that was so special, or if it was just because that's his wheelhouse, because he did write Gosford Park. And I like it, but it is currently not as satisfying as Downton Abbey.
Yeah. It feels really fluffy.
Yeah.
And while I like fluff, sometimes you need to add a little bit of something heavier, a little bit denser.
It's a little too fluffy right now.
Yeah. It's pink cotton candy.
Yeah.
It's more.
Yeah. Like,
and then stick it in the center of the dress.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is pretty much it. And we are also still doing Outlander if anybody is interested in that. First half of season 1 came out if you want to do that, and then we're currently doing season 6, and then season 1 will begin coming out again after the end of season 6. And then I don't know, we're in the market for maybe something else that the two of us can do, but for now just Outlander, so check it out.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Bridgerton does come out this week.
Bridgerton is out this week, but you are working all weekend.
I know, I'm sorry.
So it's going to be me and Will.
But still, you guys should still come and watch them talk about it.
Come watch us talk about Bridgerton.
And just imagine when you're watching them that I'm in the other room going, like that, because that is what I will be doing once I get home from work.
A lot more schmoopy about it than Will is. So I'll schmoop it up for everybody.
God, I feel like he's going to get like 3 episodes in and he'd be like, ugh.
Rachel can take it. We will hopefully be back with a season 2 of The Gilded Age at some point in the future. And otherwise, just like and subscribe. You can donate to the cause if you like. And then, just let us know what you think. Bye.
Bye.